Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the Grand Circle Tour podcast is about to air right this moment. Please remain seated and keep your seatbelt fastened at all times. Thank you.
The Disneyland Limited now leaving for a Grand Circle tour of the Magic Kingdom. All passengers board.
Star Tours announces the boarding of the Endor Express. All passengers, please prepare for immediate boarding.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas. To those guests who've just joined us, welcome. For those of you standing, please hold on to the handrails throughout our journey and stay clear of the door.
Please keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the train and remain seated at all times. Now then, hang on to them hats and glasses, because this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
I am Sam, the American Eagle, and I am proud to introduce the Grand Circle Tour podcast, a celebration of Disney parks, but mostly the American ones. I really like these guys.
Welcome to the Grand Circle Tour podcast. We're so glad you joined us this evening. I am Caroline Koller, and I am joined by Jason. How are you, Jason?
Aloha, Carolyn. I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm okay. Walt's up.
My waltz up today is kind of a shout out to Stan. I don't know if you guys saw the poster for the Phantom Menace detour that came out today, but Stan makes a poster for every episode we do, and this one is my favorite. It just made me laugh. He had me as Qui-Gon and him as Anakin on the poster for Phantom Menace, and it's a pretty funny. I actually sent it to my mom. Hey, look at this.
Oh, that's everybody check that out.
Yeah, I just saw that, Jay. Give me a little chuckle.
Oh, that's fantastic. Hey, Dan, how are you?
Hey, Caroline, how are you?
I'm fine. Walt's up with you.
Walt's up with me. Well, I think Endgame fever is just about over, and we are now ready to move on to Aladdin. So I'm very looking forward to that. Actually, I'm not really sure if I'm looking forward to the movie itself or just looking forward to see how it does in the box office. 'Cause I'm not really sure about this one, but we shall see.
How are these live action remakes doing in the box office?
So far, they've done good. Beauty and the Beast did well. Jungle Book did well. I personally enjoyed both movies myself, but I don't know. Jay, what do you think about Aladdin? I know you put something on Facebook about it the other day.
I already have tickets for Aladdin. I'm super excited for this one.
Wow.
I love the casting. Everyone looks like they should.
Oh.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to our review episode on that one.
My all-time favorite Disney song is A Whole New World. So I don't know if I'll go to see it just to hear that song, because I could probably just listen to that on Spotify.
I've heard a little bit of the soundtrack, and honestly, I'm kind of not wild about what I've heard so far musically, but I am excited for the movie. So we'll see when it comes out how the soundtrack is.
When are you going?
Thursday, 9 p.m.
Wow.
Oh, okay, great. Well, then we'll get a review. We'll get a review from you. Is the movie from the music? Is the music from the movie on Spotify yet? Do you know?
Not that I know. I looked on iTunes.
Okay. All right. We'll have to check that out. I love how you guys are so current on everything.
We try.
Tonight, I thought it would be really fun to talk about, one of my favorite things is people going to Disney, whether it's Disneyland or Disney World, and having a good time. Because I know so many people that are not like us. We love Disney, and there are a lot of people out there that don't like it, and they think it's too crowded or whatever. It's too hot. It's whatever their complaints are. And I just want people to love Disney and have a good time. And so this is another episode in an effort to try to educate people about Disney World. And so I thought what we would talk about tonight is, when is the best time to go? And this conversation is going to be broader than you can imagine that it will be. because it'll be based on different things. So I'm just going to open it up to both of y'all, and you tell me when you think the best time to go is and why.
I love this topic.
Good.
Do you want me to
go first,
start?
then.
Yeah, go ahead, Jay. You start.
Yes.
I cannot say enough good things about Walt Disney World in the month of September. I was there for the third week of September last year, and it was dead. Even on a Saturday at Hollywood Studios, where there's only 1, 2, 3, 4 rides operating, there were no waits. I just kept getting off and getting on tower over and over. Now, it is hot. I overdid it, and I came home sick because I kept playing in the heat. And I didn't take a break either day. I got there, park opening, left at park closing, and took no breaks. And don't do like Jay. Don't go home sick.
So you're basing the third week of September on the fact that the crowds are light. Is that why you're saying that?
Right. And that was the reason I picked that week. I went to touring plans, and I looked at all the weeks, and I want to go when I can get on as much stuff as possible. And so I picked a week that is absolutely dead. And I think I will always go to Disney World in September from now on.
Yeah, that's a great time to go when you want light crowds, because all of the schools are back in session, and it's kind of between holidays. There's not really a holiday for a while. How was it? Oftentimes you'll go and you'll think it's going to be a light crowd, but then there are like the Brazilian tour groups. You know what I'm talking about? You know them because they have the big flags and they sing songs as they walk through the parks. It's sort of hard to miss them. How did you, generally looking around, did you think like there's school children here, or what was the makeup of the crowd in September?
It was a very light crowd. I mean, there were families, but you could tell there were a lot of people like me who go without children and want to experience it without 2-hour waits just for the train.
Right. Now, did you ever go on like a big ticket item and not have a fast pass for it?
Yes. I didn't have any fast passes at all for my trip.
That's right.
Because
so how long did you wait in line for like a big ticket item?
I didn't wait more than 20 minutes for any attraction at the Magic Kingdom on a Friday.
Wow.
Pirates, I was able to get off and get on, get off and get on. Same with Mansion. I hit the east side first, went into Liberty Square. The park opened up at 9, and by 10:30, I had already done Mansion, Country Bears, Big Thunder, Splash Mountain, Pirates, and the Jungle Cruise.
Wow, that's wonderful.
I was able to just marathon all the way through the west side.
Wow, that's wonderful. So the crowds being light, in September, it's still really hot in Florida. So how was that for you?
The heat was oppressive. I went through $30 in bottled waters every day.
Wow.
On top of getting the free water at every station.
Right.
It got to a point, especially on Saturday, not having taken a break, where I hit a wall about 2 p.m. and I went into the Indiana Jones store and I just stood under a fan for about 20 minutes.
Wow. Okay, so
I sweat so much, I came back 10 pounds lighter from Disney World.
Wow.
And I was only there 2 days.
I always tell people you can lose weight when you go there.
Yeah.
So much walking.
Yeah.
It's an expensive diet plan, but it's a diet plan.
I think I'm going to move there, be an AP, because I'll get all the weight off in no time.
So tell me about your water stations that you're referring to. What are you talking about?
They have the cups of free water all around the Magic Kingdom.
They also have cups of free water at the quick services.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so you just kind of like dash into Columbia Harbor House.
Okay.
And get your 2 little plastic cups of water, one to splash your face with and one to drink really quick.
Okay. I just want to make sure that that's what you were talking about. Okay, good. Okay. All right. Okay. So do you have anything else to add to September being your favorite time of year to go?
What is great, in addition to the light crowd, is all the Halloween decorations are out. So all the parks are already in Halloween mode in September.
Yeah, I think they are like at the end of August, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Soon they're going to be halfway through November before they take it down.
I know. It's true. It's true.
Yeah. They start putting them up at 4th of July time.
They do. Please. Do you have anything else you want to add to your September choice?
I kind of wish I hadn't told everybody when my favorite time of year to go is, because I would be really disappointed to go and find it as busy as July because I gave the secret away.
I think your secret's safe.
Yeah, you're safe, Jay.
Yeah, you're safe. You're safe. What about you, Dan? What's your favorite time to go? When do you think the best time to go is?
So I'm gonna preface this answer by just my current situation and my situation in general. Which I think a lot of our listeners probably have to deal with hurdles like this. If I were to say, hey, it doesn't matter, work, kids, doesn't matter, what time of the year would I want to go, I'd probably agree with Jay and say September. But it's not always that easy. I have children that I am not going to take out of school. Also, my wife is a teacher as well, so she can't take off of school. So that limits us to usually busy times, summertime, holidays, that's about it. So we have to choose our time wisely. And I can say from experience that I've been to Disney at all the different holidays and all different times in the summer. And, there's a few different things that I'll say. First and foremost, I usually go the last week in August. That's my week. And the reason I do that is because I live in the Northeast, and the Northeast schools don't go back to school until after Labor Day, where I think most of the country go back a little bit earlier. So that last couple weeks in August ends up being kind of like September crowd-wise. Very, very light. Walk-on rides, you go on everything. The issue is the weather. It gets very, very hot. I mean, Jay, you thought it was hot in the end of September. The end of August is even hotter. So you do have to pace yourself, and you do have to make sure you have a steady plan when going. I've also gone during all the holidays. I can say that my favorite holiday to go is probably the week that the kids are off from during Easter. Sometimes it's the week before, sometimes it's the week after. It's going to be busy. They're all busy. All the holidays are busy. But I've been like President's Day weekend, and that was a disaster. I've been some other holidays, and it's just been a disaster. Easter week seemed to be a little bit more open, and I think it's because it's a longer time that people go. They go the whole entire week, that they spread everything out instead of those long weekends where they cram everything in those couple days. So not ideal, but I think that there's a lot of people out there that don't really have choices when it comes to having children. And those are the tips that I can give you.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic because the schools in the South start, some are even starting at the end of July now.
Yeah, right.
And which is crazy. And then the rest are in by the second week of August for sure.
Right.
So you've gotten rid of that school population.
Right.
And the weather in August and September, you can hardly tell the difference between.
Yep.
I mean, it's pretty oppressive until, the end of October. You get a little bit of a break in October, but not that much.
Sure.
So, I mean, so as far as cutting down the crowds, that's a great time to go.
Right.
That's a great time to go.
When you're thinking about what time of year to go, I think you got to ask yourself a few questions. A, when can you go? B, does weather matter? Does the heat matter? And C, what do you want as far as crowds? And as far as the crowds go, I would say that, like I said, I've been there the busiest times of the year. As long as you have a good touring plan and you plan things out, you will be okay. Are you going to have walk-on rides? No, of course not. You're not going to be able to keep walking on Space Mountain over and over. But if you plan it out the right way and you get your fast passes the right way and you get to the parks early, which is key, you will be able to eliminate some of those crowds.
Absolutely. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this, because the answer is not going to be the same for everybody because people have different priorities. So if the weather is your number one priority, then you probably need to go in January.
Right.
And I mean, if being hot is your priority,
right.
That you can't be hot, you need to go in January.
Yeah.
So But if crowds are your issue and you can handle the weather, then you have a few more choices. So, yes.
Well, and crowds are the number one thing I look when I'm planning. My vacation time around is fall. If it wasn't, I would look at Disney World in March because it's about the same crowd-wise. It's very, very low, and the weather's much better.
Yes, and one thing about the fall, one thing I was going to say about like the August, September, technically it's June, but definitely in August, September, October, it's hurricane season.
Yep, that's true.
Hurricane season. So people, let me tell you this. Get travel insurance. Get travel insurance. You only need travel insurance. When you need travel insurance. And that's what it is. So, yes.
Do you mind expanding on that real quick? Because I've never gotten travel insurance. What is it? What does it cover?
Well, it's all different. And I don't want to sit here like I'm an insurance agent because I'm not. It just, and different policies cover different things. But if you have to change things or you have to spend the night in a hotel because your flight got delayed or canceled or something, it's going to cover things like that. Or you have to stay there, you get trapped down there and you've got to stay down there longer. It's just going to cover you, and it's going to take care of expenses that, you are now going to run into that you didn't expect to. So all I'm saying is that is hurricane season, and just keep that in mind is what I'm saying.
So Caroline, I said my favorite week is the end of August, and that's like prime hurricane season. I always get the travel insurance.
Good.
I never had to use it once. I would, but that's not the point.
That is not the point.
I go often enough where I know eventually something's going to happen.
Right. And if you need it, you're going to be so glad you have it. So that's just my tip. And people don't think about it and think, I don't need that. And but if you're going during hurricane season, and technically it starts in June and ends in November. So that's just my suggestion.
If we get back to the weather conversation too, just for a moment, we say weather in Florida, we all automatically think, it's hot, right? We all know it's hot. But let me tell you, I went there once in January, and I was freezing. It was so much worse in January with the weather because I couldn't go on any of the roller coasters. It was just too cold. The wind in my face. As soon as the sun went down, which it goes down earlier in the wintertime, obviously, it was so cold. I mean, I remember, how if you buy a certain amount of money in the Disney shops, you get like a free gift or like a gift for like $40. Right. It's always a rotating like gift. Well, they had this one that was a Disney blanket, and I just remember the sight of everyone walking down Main Street with those blankets just draped around every single person. It was like the funniest thing.
I have trips from where I had the Mickey ski hat,
right,
and the Mickey gloves, and it's not because I was buying them for a souvenir to take home. It was because I was freezing cold when I was there, and I had to buy them.
I know, and I think part of it is because I didn't pack correctly because you're not expecting it, when you go to, and it doesn't happen often, but it can get cold.
It does. Well, the cast members have those costumes with the coats and stuff that they pull out and get on freezing. Yeah, it happens.
Yeah. Now, am I the only one who likes it when it's cold like that because it's an excuse to bring home a new Disney sweatshirt?
Well,
especially if I see something I really like and I have to have it right now for now.
So Jay, I'll tell you a little something, just a little secret about myself. Every time I go to Disney, I buy myself a Disney sweatshirt. That's like my treat to myself. I have like 100 of them in my closet.
Do you?
Yeah. Do you have a particular theme you like when you pick out sweatshirts, like attractions, characters, just whatever?
Just whatever I like that time.
Really quick, on the opposite end of the cold, the heat down there is so hot it can be dangerous. Dan, you and I did an episode 12, titled "Summertime Doing Time." If you are interested in what the heat is,
Jason's the one that thinks of our titles, everyone.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Summertime, doing time.
well, we talk about the heat and the best way to protect yourself from the heat in that episode.
Yeah, that was a good episode.
That's good. That's really good. Okay, so back to our subject at hand. Okay, so if winter is if weather is your issue, you need to go in the winter. Do we all agree on that?
Yes.
Hot weather is your issue, you need to go in the winter.
Right.
If crowds are your issue, you need to go, we're going to say September, after Labor Day.
Right.
And you used to be able to go in January, like the week after Christmas, but now they have all those running events that they, where they just shoveled the money to the bank. They figured out the running events no longer end anymore. They don't even special because there's so many of them now. So that makes the crowds go up. But I do think still the end of January, like the third week in January and the last 2 weeks of January are before President's Day. Anytime between there and before President's Day are a great time to go. The crowds aren't so bad.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yep.
Caroline, you're a travel agent. Do you notice when booking people, are there any particular weeks throughout the year, like any week in like just any month that is busy, but there'll be one dead week?
No, I don't notice like a dead week. I notice like if people are in New Jersey and it's Jersey week, because they all get a week out generally around President's Day, and they get a whole week of school. So I'll have a lot, in fact, people from New Jersey in the Northeast then. But I don't notice a dead week. I notice that people go, generally go the same time that everybody else goes. So no. So the answer is no. That I don't know. I don't notice a dead week. I just know from myself going and researching it and spending all my time on this that when people are there. And I also know that when Disney has figured out when people are not there, so that's when they offer the specials. That's when they offer the discounts. That's when they offer the free dining. Disney's not offering you free dining and hotel discounts because they're nice. Disney wants to fill up their rooms. So, anyway, is there
anything we should look out for when we're looking at their deals?
What you should look out, you should call Caroline, your travel agent, and she'll look out for you. Is that what you mean?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean.
No, I know it's just being a smarty. Tell me, ask me that question again, and won't be so smart.
No, I love that answer. When looking at the deals, is there anything we should look out for that will indicate a slower time?
There's not going to be a deal. A slower time? You mean a less crowded time?
Mm-hmm.
Then there will be a deal. That's why they put the room discounts out. That's why they put any of the discounts out, is because they're trying to fill up their hotel rooms.
I always look for free dining. As soon as the free dining's offered, I always my eyes, open a little wider. Like, what am I doing that week?
Yeah. Well, I'll just tell you this tip, and I know this isn't what we were going to talk about, but depending on where you're staying, free dining isn't always the best discount. But if you come to me, I'll help figure out what the best discount is for you. So
yes.
So okay. So back to our subject. So if weather's your issue, we figured that out. If crowds are your issue, you really can go in January and you can go in September. And then it used to be the week after Thanksgiving, but not so, it's pretty good. It's not quite as good if that is your issue.
Right.
But you do definitely need to go when you can go. So let's say the only time you can go is the week of Christmas. So what?
Yikes.
What
you just don't go.
About that?
I stay home.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, that 1 week is the week that I always tell people, you may want to reconsider, or you may want to try everything you can to switch it somehow, even if you have to wait a year or 2 or 3. Especially if it's your first time to Disney, you don't want to ruin it by having so many crowds. And they close the parks. They get to capacity during that week, and
That's right.
It's just crazy.
A friend of mine took her family to Walt Disney World this last Christmas. Both kids, husband, both sets of grandparents, and they went to Magic Kingdom on Christmas Day. They were there the entire day and rode 2 rides.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So my suggestion is get a VIP tour guide if you can afford that. It's a minimum 6 hours, maybe minimum. Yeah, I think it's a minimum of 6 hours, and I'm not going to quote the prices, but it's around $700 something an hour. So if that's if you can afford, this is what I'm going to say. Here's my caveat to going to, this is my exception to going the week between Christmas and New Year's. If you can afford a VIP tour guide, go ahead and go.
That's if I could, I would.
Right. Otherwise, I feel like that you're just going to leave and you're going to be exhausted and you will have spent a bunch of money and you didn't have fun.
And you'll be frustrated and not want to come back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I agree. So when deciding the best time to go, is there any other thing that goes into your calculation in your brain about when is a good time to go?
I say that the other thing that goes to me is, for those that fly, are flights, the prices of flights. And I'm always looking at flights just to dabble and see what's going on there. But if I can get a really good deal on a flight, like a really, really good deal, I'll jump on it and worry about all the other stuff secondary. It all comes down to money at the end of the day. Right. So
that's a great plan. And one thing to consider also is now Disney charges parking to park your car at the hotels. Right. And don't get me started on that. And
this last trip, I only used Uber. I Ubered it to and from the airport. I Ubered it from my hotel to the parks. It was really affordable and so much more convenient.
Absolutely. So you need to, if you're going to buy an airline ticket, you need to calculate in, well, if you drove, how much you're going to have to spend to park your car, and
sure,
might make flying more attractive.
Sure.
So.
Just to give an example, I got there on Thursday. It was $45 from the airport to my hotel at Flamingo Crossings, and it was $8 to the Polynesian and back, $8 to the Magic Kingdom and back, $8 to the studios back, and then $35 to get to the airport.
That's great. That's great.
Good deal. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So when we were talking about a minute ago about Disney offers specials when they need to fill up their hotels. So that is something to consider, is price, in that if it's more economical for you to go in, the end of September, so you're going to get a better price and you're going to get fewer people in the parks. So that, that is a win if you can handle the weather.
Sure. Yeah, no, I agree with that.
So if you're, you can talk to me and I'll be happy to, keep you abreast of the discounts. So anyway, I just think there's more than, there's not one specific time of year that there's a blanket, this is the best time to go. It's based on when can you go and what is important to you. Can you guys think of anything else besides crowds, money, and weather that's important?
Those are the 3 biggest factors for me, with crowds being at the top and weather being at the second.
I think the other tip, though, I would give is that it's important to start thinking about this way in advance. If you're going to wait to the last second to book a trip, it's probably not going to go as well as you hope it will. And some people laugh at me because I always talk that I'm thinking about 2 trips in advance. But you really have to do that. You really have to think, okay, if I'm planning on going in the year 2020, let's say, let's start thinking about it now of what month I'm going to be going in 2020. That way I can get the head start on booking flights or, fast passes and things like that. My example is that, I own DVC, so I have to book early if I want a hotel of my choosing. Otherwise I'm going to get stuck with, the leftovers, which is usually Saratoga Spring, which is my home resort anyway, and I love it there anyway. But if I wanted to stay at the Polynesian, I would have to book 7 months out. At exactly 7 months out.
Have you stayed at the Polynesian with your DVC points?
I have not yet.
Where have you stayed with your DVC points?
Saratoga, Contemporary, or Bay Lake, I should say. I booked Wilderness Lodge, no problem, and then I switched it back to Saratoga just because I wanted to, but I had booked it, no issues.
Okay.
So
do you have
I've only owned for about a year and a half. What's that?
Do you have a trip planned like 7 months from now?
I do not. I know that I'm not going to go on a trip this year just because I have a newborn at home. Uh-huh. But I do know that I am going to go next year with friends, and I do know that we're already talking about it, and that I know the exact date that I have to book that resort. And I want to get a 2-bedroom for that because I'm going with friends. So I probably will go to Bay Lake. That would be my first choice. So
you're going to go in 2021. Is that what you know?
Yep, exactly.
Wow, that is organized.
Well, this year I'm not going to any trips. Next year in 2020, I'm doing a cruise, which I already have booked.
Right.
And then I will be going 2021. Now, also, I will say that, I'm a little spoiled because I do own DVC, that I can do a last-minute trip and stay at Saratoga for, say, a Christmas party or something like that. And, we did that last summer. Me and my son left my wife at home, and we just went and hopped on a flight and, spent the weekend there. So I would not suggest that, though, if that's going to be your first trip.
Yeah. Jay, what about you?
It's funny, I have a trip to Disneyland for D23 in August and a trip to Disney World in October for the Tower of Terror 25th party. And those are very short trips. The amount of planning I'm having to do right now, 3 and 6 months away, is like extra homework.
Yeah.
And what do you mean?
Especially with the changes at Disneyland, because we'll be there for D23 after Galaxy's Edge is opened in August. So it is going to be it's like doing algebra, trying to figure out if I get on the Haunted Mansion and Smuggler's Run in one day.
Yeah. Wow.
Jay and Caroline, I don't know if you saw, but we have passengers. We have this app that we use. It's like a shared calendar, and that's how we keep track of all our shows. And when Caroline wrote that what today's topic was going to be, the best time to go to Disney, Stan replied, "The day Galaxy's Edge opens?" ? They were like, "Yeah, I don't think so, Stan. That's the worst day to go."
Oh, I almost think, should you even go the rest of the year?
We're talking about, do we have to be at the main gate at like 4:35 a.m. when Disneyland opens so that we can run to Galaxy's Edge?
It kind of scares me, actually. I don't know. People are so, how people are.
People are people.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I have friends that went to a Comic-Con this yesterday, actually, in Jersey. It was the Jersey Comic-Con. And someone was dressed up as a cast member, and they had a sign that said, "Galaxy's Edge line starts here."
I saw that.
Really?
And I think I seen a meme of it going around, too.
Oh, my goodness. Well, my really good friend is a VIP tour guide. I've talked about her before. If we're friends on Facebook and you've seen my pictures, that's my friend Leslie. She's a VIP tour guide, and I think that's the only way that she's going to see it is giving a tour to somebody.
That's funny.
It's funny because I was going to give some Disneyland advice on this one, because the way it's been for the last so many years is Disneyland, and I'm saying this is my home park and I'm a local. It's really it's best January through May, and then you skip the summer and you skip fall and Christmas unless you really want to do Halloween or Christmas, because summer through December is just bad at Disneyland. But with Galaxy's Edge opening, I don't know how it's going to be anymore.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yep,
I can't wait to
things
hear
are going to change.
Yeah. Huh. Okay, well, does anybody have anything else they would like to mention on tonight's subject?
Carolyn,
go ahead, Jay.
Carolyn, if people want you as their travel agent, how could they get in contact with you?
The best way to get a hold of me is my email address. I'm with MEI and Mouse Fan Travel, and my name is Caroline. And my email address is Caroline, Caroline, the letter B as in boy, at MEI-travel.com.
Great.
You can also go to request a quote, but make sure you click on my name so that you get me. So, or you can just come straight to my email and get me right away with that. So anyway, yeah, I am happy to help people, figure out, I find like people that don't know anything about Disney, and they'll be like, well, my friend said I have to do da, 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 da. And that may be great for your friend. That might not be the greatest plan for you. So just like this there's not a perfect time to go. There are pros and cons to all the times to go. So I don't know, think about that when you go, because we want you to go and have a good time and want to go back again and feel the magic there like we do. Because we're not just weirdos that love Disney. There's something special about the place. And people that don't get it, they think we're weirdos, but there is.
You know what? They can stay home because it's less people in line for us.
That's right. But we would like you to go and give it a try and take these tips that we've offered you to hopefully you will have a lovely time when you were there. So
yeah, definitely.
Do you all have anything else to add tonight?
This was fun.
Yeah, good time.
It was great. Well, thank you, passengers, for joining us tonight. And take it away, Ken.
If you would like to keep the adventure going after the show, be sure to like our Facebook friends page, Grand Circle Tour Magical Ticket Holders. While on Facebook, like our group page, Grand Circle Tour. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Grand Circle Tour Podcast, as well as Instagram, GCT Podcast, and our YouTube channel, Grand Circle Tour. If you would like to send us a message, you can email us at gctpodcast@gmail.com. T-shirts and other fun merchandise can be found at tpublic.com. Simply search Grand Circle Tour Podcast. If you enjoyed your adventure, leave us a review on Apple Podcast. Only one rule, make it good. Thank you for riding with us, and welcome home.
New fun and excitement waiting for you at Disneyland. The opening of a Magic Kingdom's most exciting new attraction, Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yo-ho, yo-ho, a pirate's life for me.
Enjoy a rollicking adventure with the boldest crew of swashbucklers ever to terrify the Spanish Main. Bloodthirsty cutthroats attack a sleepy town.
Yo-ho, yo-ho, a pirate's life for me.
You're in the thick of the action as these three-dimensional pirates dunk the town's magistrate, auction its fair maidens, and set the whole village ablaze.
Yo-ho, yo-ho, a pirate's life for me.
Join the fun and excitement of Disneyland's newest and greatest attraction, an entirely new kind of family entertainment. Pirates of the Caribbean, an audio animatronic experience you'll never forget. See it now at Disneyland. Pirates of the Caribbean.